Hi, my name is Claire and I really like to knit. I'm a Chinese Australian knitter and I'm absolutely obsessed. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about knitting for your body shape. Now, I don't know about you. I have many pieces of knitted garments and just store-bought clothing in my wardrobe that I reach for, put on, and then it just doesn't feel right and I put it back. And I've discovered quite often the reason is it just doesn't do anything for my body shape. I've knitted probably over 200 garments, including accessories, and I have discovered that even though some of these patterns are beautiful and very clever, if it doesn't do anything for my body shape, I won't enjoy wearing it. So today I wanted to go through some of these garments, different types of body shapes, and why I like some of them and not so much the others. All of this is just my own opinion and I have just worked on this for my own body shape, so it's not a reflection on anyone else. I will be using some terms that may sound outdated, but that's just how I learned about body shapes when I was in the fashion industry. In general, the most common body shapes, you've got apple, you've got pear, you've got rectangular. So you see all the supermodels, most of them will be quite rectangular, so they have narrow shoulders and a straight hip, so their body is quite proportioned. We've got apple body shapes are probably a little bit heavier on the bosom or in the waist area and smaller in the hips and legs. There's also inverted triangle, which is people with very broad shoulders and very narrow hips. And my body shape is pear, which is the opposite of an inverted triangle, which is I have very narrow shoulders, I have very sloped shoulders. I do have a bit of a waist, but most of my weight is in my hips and my thighs, and my legs are quite short. I've learned to love my body shape, but that still means I want to dress to complement my shape and to make me feel good. So the things I will usually look for would be to widen my shoulders, accentuate my waist, and to take attention away from the hips. In knitwear, we have our most common constructions, and they range from raglan, drop shoulder, knit in the round, setting sleeves, continuous sleeves, and some other out-of-the-box designs. So today I'm just going to show you some of my pieces in each of these sections, how they make me feel and what modifications that I could make to make them fit me better. So I hope you enjoy this episode and let me know what you think and how you think knitwear works on your body shape. Now the first one we're going to talk about is the raglan. So the raglan is a very, very common knitting pattern, and there are tens of thousands of patterns out there that are raglan. And let me show you. The most recent raglan that I have finished is this Scrappy Scribble sweater by Park Williams, an American designer. So it's just a very basic raglan increase and straight down Aran weight sweater. And I knit it with a high neck. Now, I showed you this in my last video and how it looked on me. It's fine. It is an inverted triangle. So it adds weight into the body and takes it away from the shoulders. So it actually does the opposite of what I need. So when I put on this sweater, I feel like my shoulders are very round and very drooped, and it adds a lot of attention to my waist. It adds bulk to my waistline. So this one actually doesn't do anything for my body shape. But I still really like the color, and I like how simple it is and how snuggly it is. So it's fine for me to wear in winter. But it is not something that complements my body shape. Here's another raglan that's also by Park Williams. It's called the Me Oh Mine sweater. And it's also a simple raglan from here. However, this one works for me. The reason is it is cropped and there are decreases in the waist. So because of the overall shape of the jumper, it actually creates an inverted triangle shape for me. So it adds width to the shoulders by making the waistline more slimming and more cropped. And she actually has a bit of a balloon sleeve. There's a lot of volume in the sleeves. And I think that's why this raglan actually works for me. Now the third raglan is actually the best fit. So this one, I have made a whole video on it last year. It is based on the Diamonds and Stripes sweater by Alpha Knits. And I made some modifications to knit this copy in black and white stripes. So this actually has the same concept as a raglan, but it's modified. So you cast on in the round and then you do increases for the shoulders and the sleeves. However, it's modified because initially you increase the body more and less in the sleeves, and then later on you increase more in the sleeves and less in the body. So it's not a line that cuts straight down into your armhole. It actually goes less slanted to fit with your body shape a lot more. And when I wear this, it actually feels really comfortable. The stripes, I started quite a bit higher than my green one, and so that helps to add width to the top of my shoulders. And I think this is my most favorite raglan. I don't think she would even call this a raglan design, but this will be my most favorite raglan design. And I think if I were going to knit more of these, I would do this modified increase method so it sits better on my body. I also did a high-low hem, a split hem, so it shows my waist, which adds to the effect. And having a high-low and a slightly cropped length again shortens my upper body, which is, I forgot to mention, my upper body is proportionally longer than my legs, so I always want to shorten my body and elongate my legs. So having cropped jumpers and split hems, it always helps in that aspect. So that's my raglan. The second one would be drop shoulder. Drop shoulder is probably the most popular design out there at the moment. Most new designs are actually drop shoulder, and they are very easy to design and very easy to knit. All you do is front piece, back piece, and then pick up for the sleeves and knit it down. Not sure what it does for my body shape, because if the sleeve starts here, it just rounds out my shoulders and makes it more narrow and more drooped. So some of the examples, I'm currently starting on this drop shoulder top called the Shortcake sweater by Jaime Knits. It's actually a knit along at the moment, and there's hundreds of people knitting at the same time. I've chosen these two colors, orange and a pink, and this is the shoulder. You can see it goes all the way down here to my upper arm. The reason I haven't continued with this is I'm not sure if I will enjoy wearing a drop shoulder jumper with no short rows on the sleeves, and I'm a little bit worried this color is too immature for me. What do you think? So it's currently sitting here. I'm not sure what to do with it because I'm a bit worried about the color, and I'm a bit worried about being a drop shoulder jumper. And if I finish knitting it, what if I don't wear it? And I don't want another jumper sitting in my wardrobe that I don't wear. So it's still, let me know in the comments if you think this color looks good. The pink and the orange linen quill, I'm holding it double. The second drop shoulder example is the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit. I knit this this year, using a Woolly Yarns Suri alpaca blend, and it's quite soft. It's not the yarn that's called for on the pattern. I thought I don't like oversized sweaters, so I used a softer and more thin yarn and a skinnier and a smaller needle. So I know that I don't think I actually did a swatch. I just thought if I use a thinner gauge yarn and smaller needle, it'll just have less positive V's, which it did, and it worked really well. It fits pretty well. So this is a very popular pattern, drop shoulder. What I like about this one is she added some short rows onto the sleeves. You can see here, this piece here is not a pure rectangle, and that really helped the jumper to sit a little bit better, so that most other jumpers, you don't have short rows on the sleeves, and you end up with a bit more of a bulk here, and it just doesn't feel as comfortable when you're wearing it. So this short row helped a lot. Another thing I may talk about later is colors, because lilac in camera it looks okay, but in real life this actually makes me look very grey. So I've added some color accents to it to make it a bit more fun. Orange, bright spring is my color. So this one, I like it, but still every time I wear it, because of the softness around here, it really droops and makes me feel, I feel like it's dragging me down. It's not lifting me up, if you know what I mean. And I'm a very short person, so I don't need anything to drag me down. So this one I actually haven't worn a lot. So that's an example of a drop shoulder that doesn't quite work for me. My favorite drop shoulder is this Norah Gaughan design. It's called the Deliciosa. I think it's not a new design. I did make this almost 2 years ago. It used to be white and now it's turning yellow. and I really want to knit it again because I love it. It is just so cute. It is drop shoulder, but it just works better because it's not oversized. The sleeves are not oversized, and I think that makes the biggest difference. So the design, you know, on the body, cables. Love hearts and twisted cable, so cute. And it only extends, I think it kind of comes out a little bit here. So it's not exactly drop shoulder, but it's more of a trapezoid in the body, and then slimmer sleeves. So this one actually, it doesn't feel like it's drooping, and it makes me feel, it actually makes me feel tall. I like it. So I think I definitely will make another one of this. And it's a little bit cropped too, which makes a big difference. So this is a drop shoulder that has worked for me, and I think the reason is the sleeves and the increases here on the body. All right, that's the drop shoulders. Let's now go into set-in sleeves. Now you probably rarely see set-in sleeve designs anymore in modern designs because no one wants to do it. But in any traditional designers or any old school designers, like my mom, she loves to knit set-in sleeves. And that's because they just fit better. It is proper tailoring. You know, you have an armhole shape that is proportional to what your actual shoulder looks like, and you sew it in. By sewing in the sleeve, it also reinforces the seam and gives you more structure on the jumper instead of letting it feel really soft and drop over time. Because I don't know if you've noticed, in the drop shoulders and raglan, it does feel quite loose here, especially drop shoulders. It can start to drop over time, or if you've been wearing it all day, the wool is softened, it just starts drooping like that. So having a set-in sleeve, it gives you nice structure and it sits so good on the body. So I don't have any bad set-in sleeves examples. I'll show you the two that I love. This is Smoke by Louisa Harding, and I knitted in her own cashmere yarn. I don't know if she still designs anymore. I don't hear about her very often. I first saw this on the Fruity Knitting podcast, of course. She was one of the featured designers. It's a set-in sleeve design. You knit each part in pieces. So every part was knit in pieces. It's a reverse stockinette with cables in the front. And it just looks so good on. It just fits so well. I mean, I don't enjoy knitting set-in sleeves because it's all in pieces and my seaming skills are not very good. But I do love wearing them because they look so good. So I think Mum may have helped me seam these because she always complained that my seaming is messy and not proportional. But I think this is so classic and will last the test of time. And of course, I can never not show this one off. This is the Jane Seymour jacket by Alice Starmore. This is from her Tudor Roses book. This is probably the most complicated design I have ever made. It's knitting pieces. Actually, each one of these leaves was knitting pieces as well. So you knit all of these triangles and then you string them into one thread and knit them up together. So sleeves, front, back, all knitting pieces. Same with the front. You make all these little triangles and then you string it together and knit it onto the collar. I absolutely love it. It just fits like a glove. And it looks so good on. It's extremely cropped, it's extremely structured, it gives me shoulders. So I love it. It's a little bit too warm to wear here in Brisbane because it's a colour work, 2-layer jumper, but any chance I get, I wear this out. This jumper, I don't think I ever talked about it. No, I don't think I've ever talked about it in detail in any of my videos. But you see there is colour work and intarsia at the same time, and then you embroider all these little dots on it after. You can buy it as a kit from Alice Starmore's website called Virtual Yarns, and if you ever feel like a challenge, I highly recommend it because it's my masterpiece. So that's all about set-in sleeves. Let's talk about knitting in the round yokes. So this is the ones where you cast on the neck, knit a big circle until the underarm, and then you separate for the sleeves and body. Again, this is really good for, the patterns around the neckline. I used to have this one called For Fox's Sake by Max Sear in Canada, and the little foxes, they're fantastic. I've never worn it and I gave it to my cousin because round yoke sweaters just do not suit me. Let me give you an example. I didn't bring the Lovage down, but I'll show you a photo. So the Lovage is by Marie Wallin. It is a circular yoke sweater knit from the bottom up. I knitted this exactly the same as Andrea's from Fruity Knitting. There were two big issues with it. One was the color is not my color. It's too muted and too much beige and too much yellow, and I just don't enjoy wearing the colors. And the second part is the round yoke. It makes me look like I have no shoulders. So it's been sitting in my cupboard. It was so much work to knit up, but I have worn it maybe once because it just doesn't bring me joy and it makes me look like I have no shoulders. Here is another knit in the round yoke. This is a Disko pullover by Kit Couture, and you can buy this as a kit from their website. I saw this picture and I loved it. I thought it was so cute. And this one actually worked okay for me because it's quite busy and there's a lot going on the shoulders, so it does bring your attention to your shoulders rather than to the middle part of the body. I did make a video about this last year. I knit the yoke way too big and it just looked really silly, and I end up steeking it to make it into more my size. So you can see it on the inside. There's steeks, and I kind of steeked it into a raglan shape because I cut a seam here, and two in the back to decrease the bulk. It fits now, but again, I still don't wear it because it still looks like a round yoke sweater and it doesn't really bring bulk to my shoulders. The pattern here is smaller than here, which adds more weight to this part rather than here, which is where I need all of the shoulders that I can get. So this one, again, have not worn. My favorite knit in the round yoke will be this one. This is called Reina de Picas by Valentina Bogdanova. Valentina designs lots of beautiful round neck lace sweaters, and look at this lace, beautiful. It's tulips, I think. It looks like tulips. I'm going to call it tulips. It's knit from the top down and in a beautiful red, I can't remember which yarn, maybe Natasha merino. And I do love wearing this one because there is no color work. I think that's one reason that it doesn't pull the eyeline down. And it's got a nice scallop neckline which pulls the eyeline up. You're looking at this. And I don't know, somehow this doesn't make me feel I have no shoulders. It's not too bad. I mean, it doesn't give me shoulders, but it's not too bad. I think the reason is because it's in the one color. And my ranunculus as well. It's in the one color, so it's not too bad. Maybe it's the color work. But this jumper, I didn't get to wear this winter. Winter's already over, but I would wear this all the time. And this is one where I also add a little frill to the sleeve just to make it a little bit more romantic. All right, we're almost done. Now, the next one. Design number 4 is the most popular design at the moment, which is a contiguous shoulder. And I'm a big fan of contiguous shoulder because there's no seaming, it's top down, you can try it on as you go, and it's not a raglan, and it's not in the round. It actually creates a shoulder. So I really like it. So here are 2 contiguous designs. First one is the blouse number 1. I knit this with 1 strand of mohair. This mohair is Coconn, K-O-K-O-N, and it's really beautiful. The 1 strand works really well because it just feels like I'm wearing a little nimbus cloud. Yeah. So you increase for shoulders and then increase for sleeves. The sleeve seam is now straight down and you have a little curve down the bottom. So I think this works really well for me. Easy to knit and sits on the body properly. My only gripe with a lot of contiguous in the round designs out there now is they're not putting enough short rows, so you end up with boat neckline, which is great if you have shoulders. If you don't have shoulders, a boat neckline is just going to collapse and have this gape here. So I would always choose a contiguous neckline with short rows. So this one has some short rows in the front. Another contiguous example is my beautiful red cardigan. This is half self-designed. I just really want a basic red cardigan, so I purchased the cocktail cardigan by Tricot Knits, and I just made some modifications. So this is a contiguous design. You start from the neck, and then increase for shoulders. I like a saddle shoulder rather than one stitch shoulder. A saddle shoulder again always sits a little bit better here, I think, in my opinion. So I added an 8 stitch saddle shoulder here, increasing for my shoulders and then increasing for the sleeve. And I also did a faux seam here for the sleeve, so 1 stitch of purl, because I think I stole this idea from the lady that designs for my yak a lot. I can't remember. I'll link it below. I stole this idea from that design and I think it looks really good. It looks like it's a setting sleeve, right? So this fits really, really well. I think it fits well for me because my shoulders are quite sloped. So when you do increases every single row, it does create quite a slope. And for me, it works. I imagine for someone with not so sloped shoulders, like more of a straight shoulder, I'm not sure if this will work. Especially if it's wide, then you need many rows and many increases, and that's going to create a real slope. But it works for me. So I think this may have loosened over time, so I may have to make another one. It's just beautiful to wear. So that's Contiguous. Now lastly, I have many jumpers that do not fit into any of those boxes, if you want to hear about them. So firstly, this one. This is Ladder by Norah Gaughan, and it comes out of her book called, it's a Norah Gaughan's book, which I'll find a link below, but it's full of like geometric designs and it's so clever. So this is like modular knitting, I would say. Each piece is knit separately and then you seam it together. I can't even describe it. I knitted the back piece and then I knitted 2 triangles and I knitted another piece to sew on. It's just cool. It's just cool. She's a wonderful designer. It's cropped, so it stops above my waist. You can see my waistline, which is good. And this interesting shape here gives me a bit of width in the shoulder, and it doesn't fall off my shoulder, which is something that quite often happens with my cardigans. Again, narrow sloped shoulders. But this one stays put, doesn't go anywhere. It looks great. I love it. I think Mum's got the book because she made one as well, but I don't know if she ever finished it. But Norah Gaughan, you are a genius. My second interesting design is the Corbis. It's done! If you've been following me, you know this one has been quite a task. I have finally finished it. Last week, I was working on the sleeves and I was going to go back in and unpick the body because I had knitted it too small. So now I've done that. I finished the 2 sleeves, picked the little short row triangles here, re-knitted it so it's a little bit bigger, and I made it a little bit longer. I think it's a little bit too long now, but it's okay because usually I tuck things in anyway. Again, I tuck things into my waist, and I always have high-waisted pants to elongate my legs because that's what works for me. But yes, it's done. Knit with 50% silk and 50% cashmere in woolly yarn, and yeah, I love it. I wore it yesterday. But this one is different because even though it feels like you're knitting around, it's actually knitting 2 pieces of triangle at the same time. It's adapted from her shawl, also called Corbis. You can kind of see here, if I pull it out, it's a triangular shawl. And all we've done is short rowed some sleeves and short rowed some body onto it. So it's 1 shawl in the front and 1 shawl in the back. Sorry, this is the front, that was the back. Very clever, right? The only reason this has worked for me is I made it cropped and I have decreased this. I mean, not as drastically as last week, but it's still quite a decrease. So it gives me some width on the shoulders. But because of the design, it's a shawl, it's not really a jumper design. There is a bit of bulk here when I put my arms down, but I don't mind because I can just stand like this. The next 2 are actually quite similar. So these are both contiguous designs, but with a puff sleeve. And guess what? For someone with no shoulders, puff sleeves are my best friend. This is the Saguaro cardigan by Camille K. I test knitted this for her 2 years ago. I knitted it with 2 strands of Rowan Cashmere Haze, which is luxury, beautiful yarn that they've discontinued, sadly. Yes, so contiguous to start with. So you increase for the shoulders. And then when you start to increase for the sleeves, this one we increase really quickly to create a nice bubble shape. You can see there. And yeah, it looks great. It looks like a Cezanne top. I think Cezanne's got a very similar design on their website. But yeah, the bubble sleeve works for me. I've also recently finished my Liesel sweater. This is a test knit that's yet to be released by Fabel's Knitwear. You start from the top down, contiguous increases here. You can see this one slopes quite a bit because it's a heavy jumper and it's in a DK weight. So after you increase the required amount of stitches for the shoulder, it's been quite a few rows, so it slopes quite a bit, but it still looks good on me, I think. And then you increase very, very drastically, even more quickly than that one for the sleeves. So it's a huge sleeve at the top here. And then she's got more increases here at the peak of the sleeve cap to create a very beautiful bubble princessy look. But yes, this design is called the Liesel cardigan. She's also got the little I-cord string here in the waist, and it's going to be released later this year. Keep an eye out for it. It was quite a task to knit up, but I love it. It just looks so beautiful. Quickly, another example of a bubble sleeve. This is, I call this the Ever sweater. I based it on Kim Hargrave's design. The cables are based on Kim Hargrave. The rest I made up pretty much myself. And I just knitted it from the bottom up with some cables, and I added some bubble sleeves here. So when I was decreasing for the sleeves, I didn't decrease a lot here. So I decreased a little bit here, but not there. And then right up to the top, there's still, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 stitches, and I decreased quickly there and then sewed it onto the top of the sleeve. So it's got a little bit of a bubble, and just a really nice t-shirt that gives me some width on the shoulders, and it's negative ease here. So yeah, it's very slimming. Gives me the snatch look. Do you call that snatched? I don't know. And second last special design is this vintage Serta sweater. I saw Wallin yarn, Kirsten. She knitted this on her podcast, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. So I went on Etsy and bought the design and knitted it. It's written in old-timey language, like from the 50s. It was difficult to read, but it's so different. Look at it. How cool is it? So what I did was knit these two pieces separately, and this is the cast on. Yeah, this is the cast on. So you knit this way, the front and back at the same time, increasing and decreasing for the neckline shape, and then do the ribbing on the sleeves and cast off. Then you knit that piece the same way and you seam it together. And then you pick up for the body, doing short rows here, and then drawing in the round and finish the body. The back is also seamed here. It's so different, right? It's crazy. It looks so cute on. And yeah, this adds a bit of volume here. So even though it's lower than my shoulders, it's still good. This is the cutest thing ever. Serta vintage top. If you ever feel like a challenge, here's another one. Now, Natasha Hornby, number 2. Yes, so the same designer as the Corbis also designed the Marin. Surprise, this is a jumper that Andrea from Fruity Knitting has knitted. This is one of the most unique designs I've ever made, even more weird than the ladder. Yeah, she is so clever. Just look at how beautiful this is. I knitted this with the Pearl Soho Camel. So I think what we did was knit from here. I don't even remember how I knitted this. It was cast on like that. Yeah, so the cast on edge was a provisional cast on from here to the back and all the way to here. And that was my provisional cast on from bottom back around to the bottom front. That was a cast on. You knit towards the middle, and then do this, put it on hold, do the same on the other side, and we did a weird 3-stitch bind off, 3-needle bind off in the middle to close it together. And then you undo the provisional cast on and knit the sleeves with short rows. So you can, I don't know if you can see it, but there are some short rows right there. So you're knitting the sleeve back and forth like that, and then you short row it, and then you finish the sleeve that way. Then we pick up for the neck and the hem. So different, but looks great on and very comfortable to wear. And it kind of looks like a setting sleeve because everything is just shaped to the body. So fantastic, very, very clever design. So this is a selection of some of my knitwear that showcases raglan, drop shoulder, setting sleeves, contiguous, in the round in some extraordinary designs. I hope this has inspired you to try some of these techniques. And if you have any questions, let me know. I just love knitting and I love playing around with all these shapes. And since last week, I haven't really made any progress on any of my other whips apart from finishing my Corbis. Everything else is slowly moving along. I have recast on the Wallin cardigan, the test knit. It's really big. I know it's supposed to be oversized, but I'm not used to an oversized garment because I'm short and wide-hipped. Oversized tops without a setting shoulders are generally not my vibe. So when the bottom hem looks like this, it's got me a little bit worried. But I'll knit a bit more and see how it goes. If I feel really uncomfortable with it, I may contact the designer to go a size down. Because at the moment, this is over 100 centimeters. At the moment, this is giving me more than 20 centimeters of positive ease. And it is not a setting shoulder, it's a drop shoulder design. So that's got me a little bit worried. But the design is so beautiful. I love the cables. It takes a lot of effort to concentrate to make sure it's done correctly, especially now in the beginning. I think it's going to be a beautiful jumper. I just have to make sure it's in a shape that I'm going to want to wear. Yeah. So last week I had this in dark navy, but it was too hard to do the cables with. So I've started knitting this now with the white. And the white yarn is 90% merino and 10% cashmere by Woolly Yarns in a sport weight on a 3.5mm needle. All the other whips are the same. I really want to cast on something new, but I won't because I have 5 ongoing whips. So I will try and finish a couple. 2 of them are close to finishing. I will try and finish a couple before I cast on something new. That's it. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you come back and watch some more.